Let us open our mind.
I know leadership don't need love don't mean retaliation. If we don't stop, if we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the death of a child, of a slave. I never say, remember your forefathers' tears, the lives which was lost for us to see peaceful years when God stopped moving things flat. If people break, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If people break, they celebrate. At the death of the child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind. If we don't stop, open our mind. The child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Now, y'all know Wednesday nights is the nights that we do the old Yeah, last week we didn't do a show because I got caught up with some work shit, and I couldn't even get back on the set in time to do it. But tonight I got a couple of well-respected brothers coming on tonight. I got Dollar Wil coming up first, and then I got SUPASLY75 coming up right after that. I might have a third guest. I don't know yet. I'm still waiting. But before we get started, as always, I'd like to thank everybody for the donations that they gave me last week. Like I always say, man, I appreciate, I appreciate the way y'all support this channel, man. I mean, I can't say it enough. That's why I say it every time I come on the air. T.P.O.T. isn't a huge channel, but it has huge support. And the people who watch, subscribe, and donate are people with big minds and obviously big hearts. I appreciate y'all, watching this channel, subscribing to this channel, watching the videos, showing up here every week, watching these streams. And of course, I definitely appreciate your donations. Because like I always say, you don't have to spend your hard-earned coins on this platform, but you choose to do so. So I'm very, very grateful to you for that. But like I always say, it ain't always about your money. The fact that you show up here every week, the fact that you write comments in the comment section, you be in the chat room, you watch these videos, you subscribe to this channel. And for all of that, I'm appreciative, I'm humbled, I'm honored, and I'm grateful, and I thank you. But let's get on with it. Up first is my man Dollar Wil, and he is in the house right now. What's good, brother Dollar Wil?
What's up? What's up, X? What's up, family in the chat and listeners out there in the Black Manosphere?
It's been a while since you and I have spoken. I know we've spoken before. It's been a while. So I'll just start out like this, like I start out with everybody. What brought you to YouTube, brother Dollar Wil?
I've been in media pretty much. Let's see, always wanted to be in media, and I've worked professionally in media in one form or another, starting at around 16 years old. So YouTube kind of caught up to me. I was always, in the game in one form. I was intrigued by YouTube, wondering how this, I guess you could say, I was talking to another YouTuber. They were talking about difficulty in raising money, and I was telling them, I said, well, the mode already exists. The mode is public broadcasting. When YouTubers make that connection, they'll understand that they're really not inventing anything. It's already this listener sponsoring thing that's already, the template is already there. And so being in media, and from that time period where to get into a radio studio, I mean, the studio might have cost, $500,000, $250,000. You had to know somebody. You had to really, pull some political strings to get to sit at a microphone or at a console. And having done that and being kind of a little discouraged by the prospect of more of us being able to get the kind of access we needed, I was always intrigued by what YouTube, the transformative nature of what YouTube could do.
Yeah, well, do you think that as far as YouTube goes, I mean, we're all part of, black male media. Do you think that YouTube had in mind what many of us have done? The formats that we have, the amount of brothers that are on here, the voices of black men. Did you think YouTube had any idea of what this was going to turn into, as far as black men are concerned?
I would say largely no. I would say I'm two thoughts are running through my head. The white folks I worked with and how real I would be with them, and how it would be like, they would say, black folks never were dishonest with them. I grew up in DC, so I'm not a minority. My mindset was not conditioned. I was not raised to have a mind of a minority, because I grew up in a majority city with a black mayor, Marion Barry, black police chief, black, school board, black teachers. I went to black schools all from elementary on, then went to Black Howard University. So I don't have a dominated minority mind. And I worked in the DMV, and white folks came from all around to work at this media place I don't want to name. It's a three-letter name. I got a little trouble. Made a little smoke in the past. Okay, and so from gauging, using those white folks as a gauge who don't live in areas with substantial black populations. If that's YouTube, then heck no, they had no way to be able to imagine what the black manosphere was. But in another thoughts running through my mind, if you're talking about white folks in the city that had, say, a Pacifica station, then they had an idea. But there's not that many Pacifica. So what are we talking? You know what for? Unless you had like we're in what is it 4 or 5 cities that had a Pacifica, then they had no way of knowing just how raw and how deep we get. There's a reason why you're on these shows and you see these large numbers of people that don't hit the like button. A lot of those are white folks. They are fascinated by our frankness, the way that we're able to really put our finger right on things. You know, we may come a little too strong for them in person, but they want to hear it. They need to hear it because really, if you think about it, nobody in America tells the truth but Black people. We're it. You know, in fact, you know, I think, you know, I tell people that, you know, this thing we call America, if you really think about what people think America is, or when they just spout out about the platitudes of America, America really was invented by Black people. This was never the home of the free or none of that. We made it so. We willed it to be this dream that everybody around the world dreamed of America. It was a joke until we came along. We made it real. Or we're fighting to make it real.
So do you believe the voices on Black YouTube, do you think that we are part of that fight? Do you think we're part of that?
For better and worse, yeah. Yeah, we're part of with several fights. We wear our emotions on our sleeve, our wounds. You know, we bleed in public. We don't have no cut card. For better and worse, everybody can see what our issues are. We're struggling with this identification issue. You know, just what is an American and what is Black, and what's the price to pay for one trying to be the other? If you what's the price to your Blackness if you're American, and what's the price to America if you are Black? So we're trying to work this out. Then you throw in there Pan-African. Well, you know, you can see it. We're at all various levels and various degrees of assimilation. And you got a lot of people in the Black manosphere. We come from different types of America. You know, there's no, you know, one cookie cutter, you know, America. A lot of these cities are very different racial compositions. But then we all come together here on YouTube in the Black manosphere, and we basically fight about our vision, our idea of what's authentic as Americans, and what's authentic as Black people in America.
So do you think that, I mean, because we often talk about, you know, what's real, what's not real. Do you think that is a major sticking point with us as Black people? You know, not just us on YouTube and things like that, but Black people in a whole. Do you think that all of us are trying to prove or gain some type of authenticity? I mean, is one of our biggest plights as Black people trying to appear authentic or more authentic than the next Black person?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah, but where I am, I mean, let's see, tomorrow I'll be celebrating double nickel, you know, despite the young voice. I'll be 55. I reached a point where, as I said earlier, there's lots of versions of real, you know, and we don't do a good job of slowing down, getting to know the other realities of the way Black people live in America. So I don't think we do a good job of that. You know, we you know, one camp will consider other camps not authentic. you know, what are we saying? You know, we have a way of excluding uh, everybody, you know, going down the list based on whether your neighborhood, the social economics of your neighborhood, how much education you receive, what type of income you have. We'll like go down the list and exclude people from authentic and real. And I see a lot of us doing that on you know, at every level. So I don't think we've come to the point as a community where we, or as a people, where we truly respect everybody's varied experience in America.
Well, I think that many times I think we get caught up in I think we get caught up in labels, not just labels for ourselves, but labels for other people. And the fact that we have a tendency to not just label other people but label ourselves, I think that's part of the exclusion that you talk about, you know, where we want to, you know, exclude this group, exclude that group because of whatever, you know, because of whatever. And I think that being on media has kind of, you know, it has kind of made it a little easier for us to kind of exclude each other. Do you think that let me rephrase this. What do you think media has done for Black people? Do you think that media is an asset or a liability for us as Black folks?
I would say media is a tool. We are in, we're under attack. We've always been under attack in America, and media and the school system, and the public school system and media. Those are the two. That's the left jab and the right cross. That's it. That's the two fist attack. You know, get you from the cradle. You sit a kid down and you let them see TV. You set them in front of TV, and then when they get 6 years old, you send them to school. You know, so we turn over our minds, you know, to the state, to the system. So media is doing what media is in was designed to do. You know, again, I worked in media. I was a film major in school. So yeah, maybe my view is cynical to some, but I say it's real. You know, your media is a tool for manipulation or mind control or socialization or reprogramming or programming. Pick whatever flavor you want. So it's not objective. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. And so we have to grow to not be so, I'm trying to find a polite word around naive. You know, we debate whether we're under attack. We have Black folks saying, you know, questioning, are we post-racial and things like that. That's crazy. But so, you know, media is doing what media is supposed to do. White man fantasy vision. That's what I call it on TV. Okay, you got the white man going to come in and solve your problem. You know, he's the big-hearted, nice guy. You're dysfunctional, and he's, you know, well-adjusted, and he's got all the answers and all the power. And by the end of the show, he's going to make your life great. He's the answer. That's what the media message is. He's never the cause of the problem in the media stories we watch. He's always the answer.
So do you think, brother Dollar Will, do you think that we as Black folks, do we put too much emphasis on the effects that white folks have on us as Black people? I mean, we all know that the white power structure has an effect on us as Black folks in America, but do we put too much emphasis on it? Do some of us kind of use that as a crutch, in your opinion?
Yes and no. I would say out the box, I'm going to say no, because in as much as we're not responding in a constructively, in that light, I can't say that we're putting too much emphasis on it. I'll say that we're in a feedback loop where we don't progress to the next level of reaction. But I don't think we're putting enough focus on it. I think that we have a difficult time accepting that that we're under attack. And like from what I was saying in the beginning, I don't think that Black people want to be a we. That one we don't want to accept. We don't want to accept the past. We don't want to talk about slavery. We don't want to talk about current inequality. We don't want to talk about what's an appropriate response to that. You know, we are reactionary people. We're not proactive because that requires some planning and some discipline. We get mad and we respond, and then when in a fit of emotional outburst, and then when that's over, we calm down and we go back to quote normal. But that's a result of the socialization, you know. So whenever I write a lot in people's comment section that we have to decide that we want to be a we. Do we want to, what is it when we say we're Black people? Are we just people with dark skin that live in America? I mean, or are we, is it just by circumstance that we're a group? Do we want it to be more than that? Okay, if it's just about circumstance and oppression, if that's what it is, then when I arrive, I get mine, then mission accomplished for me. But if we have a group mindset, and if the objective is that we're one, we're a we, then everybody's struggle is my struggle at that point. But we haven't gotten to that level of consciousness that we want to be a we, because to some degree it is a conflict with being an American. It is. I'm not going to dance around. I'm not going to buck dance around that. America. I mean, we were Black before we were American, and America is not. We are much more likely to outlive America than America is likely to outlive us. Okay, so we're not comfortable saying I'm Black or I'm African. I define myself as a dispersed African. I'm an African American, but I'm a dispersed African. My history goes back to Africa, and and to the Africans listening, my history is part of your history. I'm part of you, okay, and a part of your tribe ended up here. Okay, so no, I don't have an African name. I thought about changing it, but I said no. I want my name to reflect that I'm the African that came to America through slavery. So,
well,
somewhere in there, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Well, we as Black folks, there's many, like we talked about earlier, there's many different sectors of Black folks and many different classes of Black folks. And, some of us are, bougie. Some of us are broke. Some of us are living upper middle class. Some of us are living in the throes of poverty. So what do you think can bring all of those people together? Because it's hard to bring the classes together. It's hard to bring rich people with poor people, broke people with bougie people. It's hard to do that. So in your opinion, what do you think could actually bring people from those different classes, sectors, or even geographical locations of Black people? What can bring those people together in your mind?
Again, one, we first have to want to be one. We have to want to be a people. Now, more on the ground, boots on the ground. We would have to start to take the responsibility of shaping the minds of our young people and stop turning it over to the state. Okay, we have to, and church. Okay, we have to stop turning the minds of our children over. We have to you know, in order to raise a people, it starts with raising children. Okay, so we have to sit down and say what type of values do we want our children to have? What type of relationship do we as a people want to have to the rest of the world, this hostile world? And we have to create that reality in our young. I would like to see us put more of this type of let's say like history, and of course the STEM sciences. I would like to see us use these churches during the week, and maybe on some off hours, to do some of that type of stuff, so that, you know, we have too many generations going around reaching adulthood saying, wow, I didn't know this about Africa, or I didn't know this about Black history. You know, we have to have a systemic response to that. You know, if Jews can go to their synagogue on Saturday to get their cultural reinforcement, when do we go and deal with cultural reinforcement? We don't. We don't. So it's not going to fix itself.
Well, do you think that many of us do we want cultural reinforcement, or are many of us just, you know, purposely avoiding cultural reinforcement?
I think that when I say cultural reinforcement, that's just another way of saying we don't want to be a people. It's no need to reinforce culture if you're not trying. The function of culture is to create cohesion among people. That's what culture is for. You create rituals to reinforce those values of the people. But first, you got to want to be a people. You got to want to be a one. And we're the only people in America that think that there's something backwoods, or we'll say tribal or provincial, about wanting to be Black. Or like it bothers me when I hear younger generations say pro-Black in as a slur. You know, I've asked people, what do you mean? I start to challenge young people. What do you mean when you say that? I don't know what you're talking about. It's like they have some effigy of the most backwards person they can think of, and to them, that's pro-Black. I mean, I would love to hear what a Black psychologist would say. What's their take? What does it mean when we say pro-Black in as a slur? That's telling you just we sick, as Malcolm said. We sick.
What do you think that comes from? What do you think causes people to, when they refer to somebody as quote unquote pro-Black, they're from what you're saying, they're saying it in like a denigrating kind of way, right? They're using it as a slur, as you say, and probably using it somewhat sarcastically too, right?
Yeah. I think it's self-hatred. And that's learned from the system. That's what the school system, the religion, and the media. That's their objective and mission accomplished. It's working. It's working. I think that once we get our mind around wanting to be a we, then we'll be in the frame of mind to look objectively at what's happening to us. And then it'll be easy to respond at that point. You know, it's like I've gotten into arguments with people that go, well, what if pro-Black's done? I go, what do you have in America that wasn't done by someone that was conscious of Blackness? Everything is the answer. You know, I'm like, where did the Black mayors that we had, you know, come, the Black folks fighting in the 60s and before, all these suburbs, you know, Black suburbs we have around the country, that wasn't always here. You know, we didn't get these Black mayors until the 60s and 70s, late 60s, 70s. And you didn't start getting black folks into these, quote, good government jobs until you got those black mayors to open up those good government job opportunities. That was pro-black. But people act like there's no profit, there's no payoff to being if you're not pro-black and you're black, what are we really saying? You know, I mean, I grew up in a time when Ali would say, "I am the greatest," and they asked him, "Why are you so arrogant?" He said, "Because if I won't show some love for myself or compliment myself, you certainly not going to do it." That's what he said. I grew up from in the era where Jesse Jackson said, "I am somebody." We believe that. You know, we were into pushing the ball forward. And now to think in terms of making America creating racial equality, that's in a denigrating way. That's called being a social justice warrior. That's enough. Wow. We sick.
So what is the
I love y'all. I love y'all. Just keep that in mind.
he loves you. He loves you,
I'm
but
a
he does
social justice warrior. I'm
he does
pro-black. I
he does
love
believe
you.
you're sick.
All right. And what's happened, the way we are is because we were programmed to be that way. Okay. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Okay.
Well, you and I, we come from the same generation. When I was coming up, things were different. As a young kid, you know, I would see how my parents were and how, you know, other people's parents were, and the things that they taught us and what they expected from us. There's a different level of expectations, or should I say expectations are non-existent now for the most part. I mean, people are just pretty much doing whatever the hell they want. And I think that many times when we talk about, you know, consciousness and pro-blackness and, you know, social justice warriors alike, when we talk about those things, the lack of the expectations that are set forth for you have played a part in why we think the way we think about other black people. So let me ask you this. Do you think that even though the white power structure has a hand in some of the negative things that work their way throughout black society, do you think that we have a part in some of the negative shit that goes on within black society? Are we a big part of the problem?
No doubt. You absolutely. You know, I mean, we fueled, we had a big part to do in the black exploitation films of the 70s, which glorified the pimp and the criminal and created the us against them between every black person who had a good job or was middle class or higher. They were presumed to be a sellout, a coon. Yeah, we rubber stamped a lot of that in the media that we controlled. And then fast forward to rap music, you know, here comes the money. So yeah, okay, you want me to talk about a life I never lived, and you want me to glorify selling drugs? Okay, so absolutely, we pimp ourselves for money. But I think again, that's going to happen if you don't have people with a mindset of being a we. Okay, because then once you become a we, you say I'm a part of a tribe or group or community. Now we can hold you accountable. But when there's no constitution that we're trying to live up to, then there's no way to hold that person accountable. You know, because if we're a we, You're not going to buy that person's record if they're betraying the tribe. You're not going to go to that concert. Okay. And at that point, the white man got no use for you. He don't even want to give you money at that point if you can't make his money grow. But we show that we don't, we don't have an operating system that we authored. Okay. So yeah, we absolutely have a lot of dysfunction in our community, and we at our worst moments on these Black Manosphere streets, we rubber stamp a whole lot of fuckery. You know, I hear people having to defend themselves against being a coon or inauthentically Black just because of maybe the way they speak or where they lived. I'm like, you don't know that person. You know, you don't know if they stand up or not. I mean, I know all kinds of coons. Some of them middle class, some of them poor. You know, I know all kinds of sellouts. You know, I mean, and look, I led a union movement in DC at my place of employment that was predominantly white. The white folks couldn't stand me, but I was able to convince them that we had a common ground. You know, I saw all kinds of sellouts. You know, people that talk the talk. I saw people that talk like you think they're pro-Black did not stand up when it was time. I saw people who came from the whitest suburbs. They were lions, man. They had great relationships with white folks, and they put it all on the line to do the right thing. So, you know, but again, I don't expect everybody to have that opinion, or because they didn't have that experience. You know, I saw white folks who wanted to help with, you know, and I've had some racial battles as well. I saw white folks that you didn't have to explain to them for an hour about something so primitive, you know, about racism. They get it. I've had white people stand up, you know, slip me a piece of paper of an email where somebody, you know, said, you know, basically was conspiring to create a racially hostile environment or keep somebody out of an opportunity. I had white people come forward and show that. So I've had people that was, you know, presenting themselves as ride or die pro-Blacks. I'm like, hey man, you know, won't you write down your experience in this company? I'm not asking you to rubber stamp what anybody else said or say you agree with this other person. Just write down the stuff that you talk my ear out on at lunchtime every day. I'm tired of hearing this shit. Okay, let's write it down. So give me this so I can go forward with this. You know, and then they ghost me. You know, so for me, it's like, what's the test? Okay, for Blackness, what's the test? To me, it's a verb, man. Black is a verb. What you doing? What you doing? You know, you don't get no strikes with me because of your complexion, because you grew up poor, because you got swag. No. No. That's trivializing Black. What you doing? You know?
So, I mean, when we talk about, you know, what is Black, what isn't, and, you know, how Blackness reacts with, you know, whiteness, I guess. So where do you think most of the problems lie? Do the problems lie with us as Black men, or do the problems lie with Black women? Where are the biggest problems that need solving, in your opinion?
Okay, you asked me to choose. Of course, it's both, but the answer is, since I'm gonna answer, since you asked me where the most of the problem lie, the most of the problem lies with Black men. It's us. It's us. Okay, we are complicit with a lot of what goes on in America. You know, we don't stand up as much as we should, and we don't. It took us too long to even stand up to when the system started using women against us. We were a lot too slow at recognizing it. Like when Brother Gab talked media when he came out and he said that he thought that when he first came to the manosphere, how he heard the brothers kind of roughing up the women, and that was kind of hard for him to take or whatever. That is pretty much the climate or the attitude that I experienced in DC. So he represents the mindset or the behavior, the conduct of most men I know in DC. And DC was Chocolate City. So if we're not towing a line in the blackest city at that time when I was growing up, then I have to say it has been us. It's been us.
So where does it start though? I mean, it's kind of hard to start with adults. I believe it's hard to start with adults. I mean, because Frederick Douglass says it's easier to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. So do you think that men should men be taking more of the responsibility for raising the children? Do you think that men should be more responsible for their children? And I'm not talking about the brothers who squirting babies all over the place and they just gone. I'm talking about brothers who are in their children's lives. Should they be taking more of responsibility for the children as opposed to leaving most of it or a part of it to the women to do?
Oh, absolutely. But I'm going to put that under the category of black men. It's like we never really stood up against feminism as it was strengthening, and black women started to be pried away from us, or as black women would go off to college into these women's studies programs and come back different. Like, whoa. I mean, I know too many sisters that I've been engaged in a 20-year debate over whether the nature of the problem in America is class or race. I shit you not. The oldest one, she's 65, and we've been having this debate for probably about 30 years, actually, since about 30 years. It's a number of black women. They're because feminism does that. It preaches that the issue is class and gender, and then somewhere after that, it's race. Okay, and so you got black women walking around with this, told that you're a double minority, that you're somehow in a dilemma between racial equality and gender equality. No, and we men allowed that to happen. We didn't get in the fight. You can see even in the black church, the women do a whole lot, if not most of the work in the church. You find any organization, organization in our community, the women do the work. So we kind of been AWOL at taking on these tough issues because we need the women to do the work, but these tough conversations, these tough topics could drive them away. But we got to stand up to it. We never have until now, actually. I mean, I remember a few people back in the day when The Color Purple came out. What's the critic? Quincy Troop, and what's the brother who wrote Writing is Fighting? Japanese by Spring. I can't think of the brother. Ishmael Reed. Okay. There were some other brothers coming out, kind of speaking out here and there when the media started to kind of, the whole publishing empire started favoring black women and black male authors, couldn't get no traction. I do remember those um, debates going on, but it wasn't it. The groundswell didn't happen. It didn't. We could have put forward a bigger push, and that this all of this leads back to your earlier question when you asked me about YouTube. So there were these types of things that where black men couldn't get a voice in the mainstream media. I was curious if that stuff would uh take stage on YouTube. So yeah, we just been a little late to the party, late to the fight. You know, I mean, we're still struggling with even class issues among black men. You know how, I mean, you hear brothers on YouTube. You listen to them. They got the swag and everything, and it's easy to pass them off as less intelligent as, as they are. And then when you hear them make their arguments, and you go, this brother been doing some deep reading, because he's right on the money. And that's why I'm a pivot to the Black Brain Trust. That's kind of where that thing comes from. Because we were talking over there, and I was like, brothers are smarter and more dynamic than we are showing in some of these very narrow debates or discussions, this feedback loop that we're in. So we need a platform to show that we're multifaceted, because I'm really impressed with a lot of brothers in the black manosphere that I had passed off. I'm like, oh, this dude is a straight idiot. And then I'll listen longer, and like a month later, I'm like, no, I was wrong. No, he's playing the nut role because it's cool. And that would take me back to my time as a kid when I would sit in that audience and not go up on stage and get my award, because we got some damaged values as black men, that if you're smart, you can't be cool, or you're weak, you a sucker. We gotta fix that. We gotta fix that. So put that right in there with the, we gotta stop denigrating being pro-black or social justice warrior. We gotta stop also denigrating intelligence for black men. I've even heard some brothers argue that intelligence is a feminine trait. I'm like, whoa. So I got to choose between my manhood and intelligence. It's not the same. Wow. They got us boxed in, man.
Well, do you think that many of us, we have a tendency to move towards, the easy answers? I mean, easy answers are easy to come by. Difficult answers, not so much. So have we gotten to a place in black society where a lot of us, we're more about obtaining as opposed to achieving? We don't congratulate intelligence. We don't congratulate a well-read brother, or well-studied brother, or a highly accomplished brother. We think that's corny. We think, that's white. That's him being white if he's accomplished and well-spoken and all this kind of nonsense. The easy answer to that is, he's a coon, he's a Sambo, he's a sellout. That's the easy answer. So are we so prone to easy answers that it hampers us, man, that it handicaps us as a people?
Yes, but let me say something, just interject this. Everything I'm saying, the overarching theme I want everybody to take, along with you, if anybody's offended by anything I say, my mantra is racism works. Racism works. If it didn't work, white folks would have gave it up a long time ago. It works. So yeah, We don't want to be, we say it more, but being introspective is not so much. That's painful, man. That's painful. So I think we need to challenge each other about things we say and things we believe. We need to challenge each other to be introspective, to make sure that we are in control of what of our own manifestation. What we're becoming. What we're producing. So we need to challenge some of these ideas we hear. Like we have this thing again, like the thing of everybody that's from the educated is a coon, and the drug dealer is a hero. I'm like, huh? People will say that, and I'm amazed it doesn't get challenged. I'm like, wow, it's just not that simple. There's a lot of gray areas. It's good and bad, all up and down the socioeconomic scale. Somebody is not virtuous because they have money, and they're not evil because they're poor, and vice versa. It's deeper than that. And so we can't, as men, we can't block off all of our areas of growth just because by calling someone lame, educated, lame, coon. I mean, we close off every avenue of where we need to go, where we need to grow. We mock it. Now, we expect a black kid in elementary school to be able to see that that's BS. He's not going to. He's not going to. I mean, I grew up in it was the poorest quadrant of DC is Southeast DC. I grew up in Southeast DC, but it was not all poor. It was mixed. I grew up in a mostly middle class. DC is interesting. You can have in every area that's quote unquote bad, you can have a couple of streets where it's nice. But everybody goes to the same schools. It's not that many schools, so everybody knows everybody. There's no way to be sheltered living in DC because we mostly didn't have school buses. You got on the public bus. So everybody, when you walk out your door, you walk to the corner, that's the world. And it's not a sheltered kind of area. The socioeconomic demographics puts everybody together. So I got a chance to see things that don't fit the narrative. I saw middle class guys with a father in the home. I saw that guy become a drug dealer because he wanted a street credibility. He didn't even need the money. He would give the money away. I saw that kind of thing, but those kinds of nuances, I don't hear us talking about, that kind of real, because it's like we're struggling for some. Well, all people need acceptance, okay, and approval and respect, okay. Everybody needs that. So we're kind of that's not just a poor man's struggle. Everybody's struggling for that, and so I just kind of get a little P.O.'d every time, the face of criminality is the poor. I'm like, no, that is overselling it, because that makes everyone that's poor a suspect of being a criminal, and we accept that. I'm like, no, I know. All the stats show it's the same small number of people committing crimes over and over again. And I know in DC, we also know that, at least in DC, I think it was nationwide, there was a period where a lot of people that were, let's say, mentally disturbed were turned out into the street. And where do all these people end up? In the ghetto, or where black people live. It's the dumping ground. Nobody really chose to be there. That area was designated for you to be there. And we were all fighting to get out. So of course you're going to see dysfunction there, you know. And then of course, we're over policed, and so this racism works. That's so. All I'm saying, y'all, just remember that when you hear me saying some hard stuff. My big thesis is all this stuff is by design. It's not intentional. Capitalism needs economic stratification, and black people have been designated to be the bottom feeders. The system is designed to do that. Because there must be a contrast to rich. If somebody's rich, somebody's got to be poor. Somebody's up or high class, somebody has to be low. And America has designated that bottom feeder to be us. So I don't like getting in conversations with brothers where I got to argue that. We can't even just, we're so twisted, we can't even just accept that, what I just said, as the fact, and then let's build from that. I don't want to keep talking about it. I already know that that's the case. Now where do we go? My answer is, I'm a stock trader. That's what I talk about on my channel, y'all. Okay. But before that, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a sportscaster. I lived in an area where I didn't think that my destiny was to be a drug dealer or some kind of criminal. But I know friends who told me that that's what they thought their destiny was. So I feel blessed in that regard. That's where we really got to get in there. If we were we would be able to challenge these very different messages that some people get in their home that others don't get. Okay, because I've seen I grew up around some very hopeless young people. They didn't have any level of optimism about the future. They didn't believe that they could have any real chance at a good life in America. And I didn't feel that way. I saw the poverty. I have it in my family. I have people in my family that went to prison and all that, just like everybody else. But the hopelessness never really grabbed me. I didn't think that my fate was hopeless. And then of course, I had some blessings along the way. You can only believe for so long until something positive has to come along to reinforce it. And so I had some things along the way that I'm sure we run out of time, can't get into it as we probably winding down here. But my I started a business as a teenager, and got a good job. I dropped out of college. I mean, I'm struggling now, and it's been a struggle always, but that's America. For us, the designated underclass, But we have this meme in America that if you didn't grow up in the most abject, dire situation, you don't have a struggle. No, you always gonna struggle. Even when you get that job, even when you get that 6-figure income, you still gonna struggle. Hate to break it to you, the fight ain't gonna end. It's gonna be a different fight. You're gonna need a different kind of combat skill. But the fight doesn't stop. Once you get out the hood, it keeps going. So, I just want everybody to just slow down. Brothers, listen to each other and understand that we have a multifaceted problem, and kind of just put a little bit more respect in everybody's struggle, and listen to people who have a different struggle than you, because everybody matters. Everybody counts. That's what I would like to hear us be a little bit more insistent in the manosphere, that we kind of respect each other's struggle a little more and listen a little more.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But let me ask you this final question before I let you go, because I got a super slide coming up next. Um, do you think we oversell the struggle? Do when we often talk about, you know, what we got going on in Black society, I often hear people talk as if all of us live in the ghetto, all of us live in the projects, all of us are living in poverty. Do you think that we kind of oversell the struggle piece, because not all of us are living on Struggle Mountain? So do you think we have a tendency to oversell it sometimes?
Oh, we absolutely do, and I think it holds us back because we're a curious group. Yes, we oversell it, but to our benefit, in a sense, we're very impatient too. You know, like I said, we just came into the middle class in the 70s. In my lifetime, we just got these. Look, when the Cosby Show came on, y'all, family, if you listening, when the Cosby Show came on, that was not real life. And Black folks, we rejected the Cosby Show because we said, who lives like that? Now, a great many of Black folks live like that. We dreamed that dream and we made it happen. We willed it to into existence. Okay, so we're some awesome people, and we're only halfway in the fight. If we really decide we're gonna be a we, and we really get committed to the fight, we're gonna take over the world. Black Americans gonna take over the world because Africa needs us. And Africa, everybody's trying to get to Africa. I've been there. I've been to South Africa. I need to go to other parts, but the thing that jumped out at me is I saw everybody in the world there except Black Americans, and that was in 1994 when I was there. And Black folks on YouTube in 2019 are debating about what they need to go there for, while everybody else in the world is there.
I don't know, man. I just think a lot of times, man, there's more confusion, you know, running through Black society than anything else. And if we can get, you know, get some of those confusion clouds over our heads, we might can make something happen. But you know, I appreciate you coming through, brother Dollar Will. I know we were supposed to get up last week, but last week shit got messed up. So I appreciate you, man, willing to reschedule and all of that. You know, that's big. You know, and I hope this ain't the last time you come through, man. You're always welcome here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page, my brother.
All right, thank you, man. I just want to say, everybody, if you get a moment every once in a while, working, come to my channel and watch a few videos. We really gotta get into this stock game because this downturn that we're in right now, this is epic. Nobody alive has experienced what we are about to experience, and we have to stave off destruction of whatever money we have. In fact, there's an opportunity for great wealth to be created in this downturn. So that's how I keep myself positive. That's my fight, because the financial realm does not care whether you man, woman, rich, poor, black, white. It doesn't matter if you have a college degree or not. Anyone can, of average intelligence, can learn these skills. So that's my revolutionary struggle, to get Black folks to control, uh, 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 get our slice of the gains that can be won from these markets. Because with a normal 40, 50, $60,000 a year job, you can get rich in the stock market if you educate yourself and you give it about 10, 15 years. You can do it.
Y'all hear that? So if you want to hear more of this, look down there in the old description box and you will see the link to get to Dollar Will's channel. He's got some good stuff down there. You know, I had to watch some of his stuff. Get on down there, man. Your black ass might just learn something. Once again, I appreciate it, brother Dollar Will, man. Next time, man, come through, man, whenever you want, man. You're always welcome here, my brother. All right.
All right, man. Thank you for having me. Thanks everybody in the chat. I'm gonna read what y'all wrote after this show.
Peace.
Peace.
Well, up next on the old
Powers of power. 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 Powers of power.
I have been trying to get this brother up on here for a minute. He's one of my favorite YouTubers because y'all know only got like 5. So he is up there in one of my 5 favorites. And I want y'all to welcome brother Super Sly. What's good, man?
Man, I'm humble. Thank you for having me. I'm just happy to be here, bro. You ain't been trying to get me on like that. Come on, cut that shit out now.
I had hit you up like a while back, and when you wrote me, you was like, "Man, I'm just now seeing this email, man."
Yeah, because I have like 4 or 5 different accounts, and sometimes if they all don't I don't get the push notifications on all of them, and I have to go in and manually check them. So that's more than likely, I'm sure that's what happened. But nah, but brother, I'm happy to be here. I'm humble, man. Always gracious. I'm just thank you. So yeah.
Well, let's get right into it, because we ain't gonna pretend like we never spoke before and shit. Let me go ahead and ask what I ask every damn body. What brought you to YouTube, man?
Honestly, same answer I tell everybody else. Catharsis. Um, I had a channel since '08. Didn't do anything with it. I did one video 8 years ago, and everyone's like on the Tommy bandwagon. So everyone did, everyone does a woman video, whatever. And I still let it sit for years. And maybe like 2 years ago, I was like, oh, let me share some of my stories and things I've been through industry wise. And it just kind of snowballed into that. I've had some back and forth with some of the pro blacks over there on Sanetta's channel. And it's just been interesting. Pretty much a catharsis for me. That was it. That was it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, everybody knows who you are. It's not like you're an unknown YouTuber. I mean, everybody knows who the Shark is. Everybody knows who Super Sly is. So, I mean, I've been on a few panels with you myself, and you disrupt shit, man. You shake the apple cart, man.
Oh man,
And
don't do that to me, bro. No.
you shake the apple cart, and I be enjoying that shit. I have to mute my shit because I be laughing in the background, but when you come up on a panel, when you do decide to come up on somebody's panel, do you come in there geared up to take folks to task, or is that just you just shooting from the hip?
Honestly, I get it from my pops. My dad is a union guy, worked in the factory for 40 years, union president. So I'm used to him um, dealing with white people, black people, in very harsh languages. Like once you see him go on strike a few times, you get it, right? And it's just no, it gets right to the point. And most panels I get on, the topic is already usually a fiery topic to begin with. And part of it is like if you're a fiery personality to be, to a certain extent, it kind of comes out naturally. I don't try to disrupt anybody's panel. Trust me, believe me when I tell you this. But it's just some things is really, like really. And I sitting there like, am I the only one seeing this? Am I crazy? And I call it how I see it. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody. If I had issues with anybody, it was never personal. I mean, it's 3 people personal that I personally don't like on this YouTube thing, even though it's YouTube. But it's just 3 people I just generally have a real dislike for. But for the most part, everybody, I get along with everybody. I think so.
Well, let me go ahead and ask you a little bit about your platform. What is your platform about? Well, I know what it's about because I watch your shit, but maybe other people don't know what it's about. So just tell people, what your channel, give them a little synopsis of what your channel is about.
Honestly, initially, it's like the occult sciences, but every few months it kind of goes left, and I have to steer it back to its original programming. So for the most part, anything occultic, um, whatever you think your preacher man told you was bad or evil, I speak on it in a very positive light. That's mainly what I pride myself on for the most part.
So where did that begin? I mean, have you always, have you always been, you know, that? Have you always had that type of lifestyle, or did you come formally from some type of religious kind of background?
Well, like most of us, I was raised in a Baptist church. My mother would make us go to church every Sunday, but my dad was like, "Fuck the church. I don't believe in that shit." He would go to argue the pastor. He would go to church just to point out inconsistencies in the Bible. That was my dad, and my dad, always raised us to ask questions and read and all this and extra stuff. Um, and then as I gotten older, and I moved to California and got up with a couple. This one particular woman, she's from Romania, and she's a descendant of Vlad Tepe, right? And so I get into that side of um, the sciences per se, So she kind of opened the door, kind of just pushed me in that direction. And then I'm a book hound. I like to read and study, whatever the case may be. So I in a nutshell, I refer to myself as a Luciferian, but because to me, I know what doctrine that I follow, that part of the doctrine that works for me, right? So, most Luciferians, there's the bad ones, and then there's the ones that, kind of gravitate towards the light side of it. I tend to push the light side of it. That's me. That's what works for me. I've studied all, Zoroaster, the Talmud, the Torah. I've read it all, but that doctrine works for me. So, damn, did I even answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, your answer is your answer. um, do you catch heat because of what you think, the philosophy you follow, the ideology that you use? Do you catch a lot of heat from other people? Do you catch heat from the brothers? Do you catch heat from, the women? Do you catch heat because of what you believe in?
It's 50-50. Mainly those that deem themselves Christians. You see, as soon as you flash a pentagram, they lose it. It's like, oh, what is this devil shit? And I'm like, no, it's the five senses, the five elements. If you care to do enough research behind it, that's who I get it from. And then I'll sit there and explain it to them if they have questions. And I'm not trying to convert anybody. I say, hey, this is what works for me. This is what I've discovered and I researched. And if it gets testy, I'll poke holes in their religion, but I always keep it respectful.
So are you are you uh are you just not religious, or are you anti-religion? Which one, or both?
Both. I deem myself highly spiritual. I believe in the laws of nature, the universe. Because all laws descend from natural law. You get natural law, then you get codes and statutes from that. Um, the religion thing, man, it's been our Achilles heel, not more so than drugs or integration, but the religion, man. If we ever let the religion thing go, it's a done deal. Like shit would change for us literally overnight. But you know, it's hard to let that go, and I understand the crutch, the mentality that to hold on to something, because you want to believe in something, and you've been told this same story over and over again. Every Sunday it's the same show, and every Sunday, every black church, the preacher man's hooping and hollering. It's the same show, and they're always asking for money, and they're always telling you the same scriptures. It's just like, come on, people. Like, they, and refer to the powers that be, they use everything that the preacher man tells you is bad. So what do we get to a point where we kind of change it up and say, you know what, let's try something different because this shit ain't working for us?
So I guess you would agree that religion has hampered black folks. I know that's what I believe. I grew up, I was raised by preachers and Sunday school teachers and pastors, and I grew up in the church too. And I, ever since I was about 12 years old, I've always believed that religion kind of shackles black folks, and I was raised by Southern Baptists. I was in the Nation of Islam. I was a Muslim and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like religion has shackled us, man. So would you agree with that? That's one of our major crisis. That's one of our major crisis points is religion.
Yeah, I think if we got rid of the religion part of it, our problems would it wouldn't be as bad, or a lot of problems would dissipate literally overnight. Because this is it's a mental thing with us with the religion thing, man. And it's like until we let that aspect of it go, we can't move forward as a people, or even try to rebuild what broken communities that we do have, because a lot of it is religion based, or for the most part of it.
So people would be correct if they said you were an atheist, right?
Now, see that I believe in I believe in the creator, right? I believe in a universal force. Um, but I understand it's a finite, limited human way of thinking, right? Because my understanding of the creator would, clearly I don't. If you really broke it down, I'm like I said, I have a limited understanding, and I can admit that. Atheism, I believe in a higher power. I've seen too many things. I've been through too many things myself personally to not say, okay, obviously somebody's looking out for me. So I wouldn't say that.
Well, let's talk about YouTube for a moment. Um, what's your take on YouTube right now? Like with all the shit you see going on, because you're all over the place. You're everywhere. Everybody knows who you are. I see you sit on other people's panels. What's your take on YouTube, man, as it stands right now? Black YouTube, that is.
It's a gift and a curse. As far as like black male issues being shed to come to light, and black men having a voice and being able to speak out on their issues, it's a beautiful thing. I support it. I love it. But yet, you know how we are as a people. When we get on the platform to show ourselves, we tend to show the worst parts of ourselves. Me included as well. There's times I go off the rails. It seems that we tend to just huddle over in this little bitty corner of YouTube and stay there. And we don't tend to kind of just expand our horizons sort of bit. We kind of like revel in, okay, it's black YouTube. We're going to stay right. This is us right here. And it's like, we're so much more than that. I even hate the term black YouTuber. Like, we're YouTubers. Once you start putting, descriptions on it, you put yourself in a box to a certain extent. Guys like MKHB, he doesn't consider himself a black YouTuber or a black content creator. So why are we so quick to do that to ourselves? Like I said, you're hindering your audience and yourself, and as far as mental state, because if you lock yourself in a box, that's pretty much how you're going to operate.
Well, I think that, media, not just YouTube, it's kind of cultish in itself. And if you have a certain constituency, you kind of want to hold on to that constituency because they are your cult members, if you will. But I believe that it would probably be better if we were to try to do something a little more mainstream. I just think that we probably won't be allowed to do that, because of the shit we say, the shit we talk about. Maybe if we were talking about birds and trees and shit like that, yeah. But many of us we go hard on shit. I mean, we come with that raw truth, and you're one of those people amongst many that come with the raw truth. So let me ask you this: Do you think that because of how we are, and the material we put out and the way we speak and the things we say, do you see that as a possibility for us to expand? Or do we have to would we have to kind of change to expand?
The weird thing I've noticed outside of this country, they love us how we do. In this country, certain segments of the population don't like us to do that. And those are the ones, for some odd reason, wield the most power to a certain extent. So let's just say in layman's terms, if we're trying to cater to white people here in YouTube in America, we would have to change some little things up, content, tone of voice, even to a certain extent. But outside of the country, they're like, yo, keep doing what you do. Like I get messages from, people outside of the country. I'm like, oh my God, I love how you say what you say. Don't ever stop doing it. That's great. But you're not the one that could, flip a switch and end my channel if I say too much. Right. I've gotten the phone calls, the cease and desist letters, the letters, you know, it's a tightrope for us because everyone looks to us for the news, what's in, what's now, what's happening, what's really going on in America. They come to us for that, and that's a lot of pressure. Some of us handle it well, others not so much. But at the end of the day, it's always been the world has been watching what we do. It's not us. I don't go to African channels and see what they're doing in Uganda. I don't. I don't go to French channels and see what they're doing in France. I don't. But yet, you best believe they're on this thing, seeing what the fuck we're doing. Better believe it. They take our slang, our way of dress, our speech patterns, whatever the case may be. They look to us for that. And that's not. I'm not trying to diss anybody or any particular region of anybody's country. But at the end of the day, we're not looking to see what they do. We've always been the trendsetters, and that's never changed, and it's not going to change. This YouTube thing has clearly shown and exposed us to a greater mass of people, and good or bad, the eyes are on us. So.
Well, many of us brothers, I know I see this sometimes, and I'll ask you if you see it. Are many of us just freaking copies of other people? Like, is there not enough original material on YouTube? Are many of us just a bunch of copies of a copy of a copy?
That's a good question. It depends on what's the content, because now it's like if I get 10 people speaking on tech, are they all copies? If I get 10 people speaking on movie reviews, because I do a little bit of both sometimes too. Um, what my question for you would be, what do you deem original content given everything that's been talked about under the sun? What could someone talk about on YouTube right now that would make them stand out? I don't say it's so much the content. I'd say it's how they present the content. You got your screamers and your shouters. You got the flowery niceness. So it's hard to make yourself stand out. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. What's original content these days? I mean, because everything's pretty much been done, right?
Pretty much.
I guess my thing is just how do you present yourself to the public, and do you have a personality? Do you have charisma? Do you have charm? Are people entertained and enlightened by you at the same time? Because listen, there's a lot of people on YouTube, and a lot of them should not be on YouTube. To be honest with you, I mean, it's the ugly truth. That's like you see the kids in sports. Your kid's trash. He shouldn't be out there. He or she should not be out there on a team. She's trash, whatever the case may be. Um, it's a lot of fluff, but the real always rise to the top. And I think a lot of it you can tell by the numbers and the views who is actually generating legitimate responses. The rest of them will fall to the wayside for the most part.
Well, the thing with media that's always fascinated me is that, and I've spoke about this before, I think we kind of feed off of each other. The people who are on the radio and on YouTube and on media, they feed off of the people who listen to them and watch them, and vice versa. The people who watch them, they feed off of whatever particular person that they watch or listen to. So what do you think separates someone who actually gets up here, does live streams, makes videos, and the people who don't? What's the difference between those two people? Because we're all on YouTube. So what's the difference between a brother who just watches and a brother who actually sits down, edits, does live streams? What separates those two people?
I would, if you have to have a passion to want to do this on a full-time basis. That's, to me, that would be the first thing. Second thing is, I guess, the number of content, how much content you upload on a daily basis or you do it a weekly basis. Um, I I don't knock full timers who do this, but I've seen full timers knock part timers that do this. Now, if you work 40 hours a week plus and still had enough time and wherewithal to upload on a pretty regular basis, I you're just as I think you're just as relevant or putting in the work just like anyone else who does this on a full time basis. So I'm seeing this the kind of thumbing their nose at people that, well, I do this on a full time basis. Well, okay, good for you. Well, I work. I'm a working man, and I still find enough time in a day or every couple of days to upload something. Now, do I'm going to jump out on the limb on faith and say, oh, okay, I'm going to do this on a full time. I'm not. I don't want to do that. This is not my passion per se. The weird thing is, I've never ever on any platform years prior, never put my face on camera like this. You couldn't pay me. I've always operated behind the shadows. I always pride myself on being unseen. This YouTube thing kind of got a hold of me, man, and kind of like, no, come here, you sit here. And I'm getting used to this. I'm still not used to this. I'm still not used to people. Hey, I saw you. I think I saw you somewhere, and I'm like, oh shit, that might have been no, you know. Um, you have to have a passion for it, and it has to be good. Now, I'm not into the green screen and all the fancy graphics. Yo, if your content, what you comes out of your mouth resonates with people, then it's gonna stick. Period. Point blank. All the fancy stuff, that's nice. It's eye candy, but what are you saying out your mouth at the end of the day that jives with the people? That makes the people say, you know what, I like him. I like what he has to say. I want to keep watching. I want to see more of him or her. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because I can't do this shit full time either. God damn it, I work too damn much.
Right.
But now I don't knock people. If this your job, it's all good shit. I wish I could sit around all day, make videos, and make money. That'd be all right. Then I wouldn't be coming in with an achy back and sore shoulder and shit.
Yeah.
But there's a narrative on YouTube that kind of travels through. And when I talk about YouTube, I'm talking about this sector, because what people don't know is like this little sector, the manosphere, whatever you want to call it, is actually very small. It's not even really a drop in the pond. That's just a drop in the fucking Atlantic Ocean compared to just other parts of black folks on YouTube. Forget the whole YouTube thing. So what I want to know is this: the narratives that kind of circulate through YouTube, okay, they're usually pretty common. Everybody's pretty much talking about the same shit most of the time. And one of the biggest talking points is women, okay? We talk about that a lot, okay? I include my ass in it too, even though I probably don't talk about as much as other brothers, but we talk about that a lot. So what do you think about that? Do you think we have we went overboard with talking about, how women are, how they should be, how they, messing up the community, how they are, they are just the problem for us? Do you think we talk about that too much on YouTube?
Me personally, yes, but I understand why. Now, you got to figure we've been hearing the black men ain't shit for the last 40 years. Okay. Now that these men have a voice, they want to be heard. I get it. Now it's like you're doing the same thing women do to get your point across. And that's not how men do. Now, I'm not saying men should just lie down and take it and be quiet and suffer in silence. Oh my God, no. You know, speak your piece, be heard. But then, okay, so now what comes next, right? Are you here to present solutions? Because we know some guys are just here to make money off, what black women do, and you need guys like that. But not everybody, not every guy should go that route. Um, Most men, if they're pretty, if they're they don't have real woman issues, mommy issues, anything like that, they don't make a lot of videos about women like that. I've noticed, unless that's their thing, if they're a pickup artist or a dating coach, those I get. And then you get some of those guys that have been spurned and are still mad about the woman that they couldn't get 20 years ago. You got some of those guys too. That's cool. There's enough room, I think, for those type of spaces. But man, it's turning into overkill now. I've noticed, and I'm just like, there's got to be more to life, and there's got to be more in your life going on than you just railing about women all the damn time. You know, it's funny because you come on YouTube, and I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, I didn't know there was a gender war until I came on YouTube." Is 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 their reality warped? Are they not seeing what we deem as the truth? Because you come to YouTube, you think this shit's going on every day. Step outside your door, it's like, oh god, there's a woman, black woman. God damn it, be careful, watch out. You know, so I think it's gonna be a little long in the tooth, man. Because then it's what's going to be the next problem. You know.
Exactly. Um, what I- what I've often seen, what I've often seen in YouTube, because I'm all over the place too. Certain people channels I go on and I come in and I talk my little bit of shit. But what I've seen is that many of us on YouTube, we we don't really like opposing views. Okay, we now we'll welcome a debate. Many of us, okay, we'll welcome a debate, but we don't really like opposing views. A lot of us aren't willing to listen to someone who disagrees with us. Okay, so do you think that we has YouTube, because I know I said this earlier, has YouTube become so kind of cultish for us that if you're somebody with a difference of opinion, you're automatically ostracized by the rest of the group? Has that become something you've seen more and more often on YouTube? How a person with a differing opinion may find himself kicked to the curb because he thinks different.
I'll do you one better. I think we have the worst ways of dealing with conflict resolution. I think we suck at it the most. Um, so a lot of us don't know how to debate or don't know what the etiquettes of a debate are, right? And yeah, if you have an opposing view, they're not. The whole point is to try to convince the person to see things from your point of view, or give them an inkling of, well, okay, why would he see it this way? Well, let me look into see why he would think this way. If you can't even agree to do that, what are you doing this for? Unless you're trying to draw money, for the debates. Unless you got two big names going at it. But for the most part, man, we like to hear ourselves talk, over talk each other with no type of resolution, or don't even agree to disagree. It always ends badly for the most part. So and YouTube is giving everybody a window to show everyone else how we kind of deal with difference of opinion. We don't deal with it well. If this good thing, a lot of times good things, this thing is on the internet, because if everyone's in person with this same rhetoric, the same fiery attitude and persona, we'd have problems. We'd have physical altercations if you look at some how these people go back and forth at it all the time. So yeah, it's starting to rear its ugly head a little bit more here and there.
Well, I can agree with that. I mean, because a lot of the stuff that I hear people talking about, if they were standing next to each other, something would be going on.
Yeah.
But that's just it. Do you think that many of us put on a person are many of us putting on a personality for YouTube, that we're not really coming up here being ourselves? We're kind of coming up here and like putting on a show. It's just it's a performance. Do you think there's a lot of that running through YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, because it's it's lights, cameras, action, it's entertainment first and foremost. Like, I don't know what's the percentage of people actually come to YouTube to actually learn something for the most part. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but for the most part, this is an entertainment platform, right? And if you put the two and two together, you correlate, the more entertaining you are, the more views and clicks you'll get. So of course you got to turn it up and ratchet up another notch and see how much more over the top you can be. It's a lot of posturing, man. You can tell, look at some of these people, like, you know what, you ain't like this in real life. You're not, because somebody would have done something to you. if you're this way on camera and translate it into real life, somebody would do something to you. You'd be dealt with. However that issue is dealt with. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of stuff that that it just comes off as a performance most of the time. But hey, it's their right to do it. You can do whatever the hell y'all can do it the hell ever the hell y'all want on here. I don't even care. Do whatever you want. Just stay off of my page with that shit. Um, Now, what do you think about the whole panel thing? I mean, it was a time when I wouldn't even go on people's panels,
Mhm.
and when I was doing YouTube, I wouldn't have a panel. Now I have panels all the goddamn time, and every time you turn around, I'm on somebody else's damn panel. So what do you think about the whole panel thing? Like, you got 8, 9 people in there, everybody talking. Do you think the whole panel thing is that a constructive thing, or is that just part of the show too?
A little bit of both. Now, if now see, this is not no shot at anybody. I cannot sit. You will never catch me on an 8 hour stream, brother. I can't do it. I got too many things I could be doing with 8 hours than to sit in front of a camera talking. That's not to knock anybody. I cannot do it. I think there's too many things in life that you know that's a huge chunk. That's a third of your day,
Mhm.
right? That's a third of your day. You're in front of you're on your laptop talking. You know, can you imagine? Would you let your child be on Xbox or PS4 for a third of the day? If your kid was in college, could you imagine him or her on Xbox a third of the day? The fuck are you doing? You know. Um, Now, the beauty of some panels, it's almost like an all-star TV show of all your favorite TV personalities all in one area, and you listen to them, wax poetic about whatever. That part is cool. But I see a lot of channels just getting panels just to be getting panels and just getting people together just to be, cackling. And I'm just like, nah, there's no way I'm gonna sit through this. I just I see some live and I see I look who's on the panel. I'm like, nope, 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 not gonna do it. Not gonna subject it to my subconscious. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, somebody told me this a long time ago. They said, don't go on everybody's platform. I mean, I've had, because I get more invites to people's things now, more than I ever did. I guess because I'm more popular than I've ever been, in YouTube.
mhm.
So I get quite a few invites, but I turn some of them shits down because it's like, I don't want to fucking be on this person's panel. I don't want to this particular person, I don't want to be on their panel. I mean, I don't even watch they shit. So why would I'm not going to go on a panel of somebody that I don't even watch they shit. If I go on your panel, you best believe I watch your stuff. I'm not just going to be on your panel and any other time I don't have anything to do with your material. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. If I don't watch your shit, I'm not coming on your panel. So don't fucking ask me. Yeah, don't ask me. You better ask me first. Do you watch my shit? You better ask me that first. If the answer is yes, then I might come on your goddamn panel. The panels get wild though, but do you agree with this? Are the panels wilder and less constructive when women are on the panels,
You would
or
ask
does it make a difference or not?
you would ask me that, wouldn't you? Um, my experience with the women on the panels, especially when it's a man's channel, it goes left a lot. And I've had a few words with a few women on these man panels. You couldn't pay me to be on these women. Listen, I don't even waste my time. I don't even half the time. I don't even like debating women. It's nothing against women, but it's just like I'm not gonna. I don't even. I don't do that. I don't. Um, When women come on there, man, yeah, the dudes lose focus, they get distracted, and then the women they do women shit. They work a little magic, a little misdirection, right? Some little passive aggressiveness, and the shit goes left. And then the guys you expect to check these women, they don't check them. But if you do, then you're the bad guy. Well, yeah, I'll be the bad guy then. I'll be a huckleberry.
I'm the same way, man. I mean, I wouldn't go on a female's panel. If they want to talk to me, they gotta come here. All right, they gotta come to the old T.P.O.T YouTube. If they want to talk to me, I don't think I'm gonna go on no woman's panel, or no shit like that. And I have very few women that I have actually had on my panel. I mean, you can kind of count on with one hand and shit. And when I bring them on with the brothers, it's usually only one at the most, and it's usually one that I'm somewhat familiar with. We have some type of discourse. It ain't no strange ass freaking woman that just coming out of nowhere and put her on the panel with a bunch of brothers. That ain't gonna work. Well, let me ask you about that. Do you think that it's a good thing, because I know you've noticed it, that more and more females are starting to enter male spaces? Even little space mine. I got more lady listeners than I've ever had. Well, I don't know why they're here. I guess they just like the shit out of male listeners. So, do you think it's a good thing for women to come into male spaces on YouTube?
I personally don't like the direction that I'm seeing. I also don't like when I see men go on these women's panels trying to convince them to see otherwise. Like, why? Like, stay in your lane. If you're really adamant about your mission, and your cause, then stick to it. It may not be the most popular thing, but then that's when you can see who's really in for this. For the mainstream per se. Like, if you're a man's channel and you claim you're all about men's rights and men first, why the fuck would you ever have a woman on your panel? For what? She's the problem, right? So why would you bring the problem into a space for men to go to get healing, to vent, to rebuild themselves, to learn how to fix themselves? Why would you see the discourse on your channel with the very thing that's causing these men issues? That makes no sense to me. Now, if your goal is to be popular and expand your audience, then yeah, you're gonna bring in women because it's gonna bring in views and it's gonna be some discourse, it's gonna be some nonsense. Yeah, people are gonna tune in for that. But you're not you're not here to help men. You're here to help yourself be more popular and gain exposure.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. I mean, because if we have these quote unquote male spaces, right, where we get around, we sit around, we talk about man shit, then you bring women into it. You bring women into that. And now, one thing, if they watching, because like I said, I mean, like I got a lot of ladies in the, I got a lot of ladies in the chat room. Now it's probably mostly women, all 17 of them. It's probably mostly women, and they watch my stuff every week. The names are really familiar. And I would assume that because the type of shit I talk, they're not thin-skinned. Okay, they're not thin-skinned women, obviously. They're obviously women who have had some exposure to men who talk this way, the way we talk, because they know they come here, ain't gonna be no violins and cellos playing shit like that. I'm gonna give it to you pretty raw, and I'm relatively mild compared to most people. So I don't mind the women being here. I don't mind that at all. But what I think has happened is that I think brothers have let the women have some influence on male spaces. That's what I think. I think that they're maybe trying to expand their audience. I mean, because I know my audience has expanded, as more and more women start to watch. But do you see this as a problem? Do you think that when we have women come into these male spaces, that many of us have a tendency to try to play to the women or play to them, if only very slightly? Are we playing to the women, because we know we have women in the audience?
Yeah. Now, if you deem yourself a man's channel and you're strictly for male empowerment, I once again I can't see the reasoning of you having a woman on your channel if this is supposed to be a safe haven for men. Like I said, the intent is it doesn't match the actions. Um, but but uh, but like I said, yeah, women. If you get the right set of women on your panel to come in every once in a while to kind of steer the ship, to help steer the ship, that's cool. But if you're just bringing them on just for divisionary or just to get a reaction, because some women clearly can easily get a reaction out of some men on a panel, and for some odd reason, it's the same women always brought back on with some of the same guys to get the same similar reaction. I am guilty of that as well, because there's maybe two of them that I don't have no respect for at all, and it will never be nice, kind words from me to them. So, damn, yeah, it's all about intent for me, man. If you call yourself a man's channel and for men, then damn it, act like it. Can you imagine going to the barbershop and just seeing a bunch of women in there because, like, no, that's for men. Yeah, usually there's women come in. Don't get me wrong. Women come in there, bring their little sons, but they, for the most part, they shut up and let the men talk. They don't interject themselves or give their opinions, and the man's not asking them for their opinions for the most part. Um, same thing. A bunch of men going into a hair salon. Do you have? Why are you there? Are you there with your woman? Are you there to get your hair done? For the most part, it's just the lines are so blurry at this point, man. I can't tell which is which. So, and I go back to your earlier point. You practicing brand management. Yeah, you can't be on everybody's panel like that, because that's a representation of you to a certain extent, and then people are like, well, if you're on the panel with that person, that means you kind of rock with them, right? So that's it. That there's a dicey. It's dicey, man. It's starting. The lines are starting to become very, 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 very blurry at this point.
Do you watch any female YouTubers at all? Do you watch any of them?
I watch. No, I can't even say I watch. I keep tabs on, like, a couple of them, but they're low level witches, and I only do that because for one of my topics that I, for occult references and stuff like that, I'll keep tabs on a couple of them. But for those others, the hell with them. I there's nothing I'm going to learn from them. There's nothing I want to hear them talk about or say. I wouldn't waste my time when that shit comes up and recommend it. I'd be like, not interested, not interested, not interested. No, no, for what? you know?
Well, me, I do peep at the people channel who come into my chat room. I try to check out. You can't look at everybody's, but you take a peep at the people who kind of come in your chat if they're a content creator, which we know most people are not.
Yeah.
But if you have a few content creators, and I'll peep in on their channel, from time to time, if they a person who I always see in my chat room, I don't have a problem doing that. I don't comment, I don't say anything, I just watch, and I may say what's up in the chat room, but that's about it. Because I think that, me personally, this is my personal views. You write me no bullshit emails, y'all. I think that women's spaces should be women's spaces. I think that men's spaces should be men's spaces. If we're going to go over and, kind of watch women's spaces, we need to just do that. Just watch. I don't think we need to be on the panel and all this kind of nonsense. And vice versa over here. I don't think, that, if we got a panel full of dudes, if I got a panel full of audience, more than likely I'm not going to have, a woman panel. It's all dependent on what we're talking about. You know, I'm not going to have a woman on the panel because I just don't think it's a good mix. You look at my stuff, you're not going to see a lot of women mixed with men. All right, you're just not going to see it. But far as the rest of YouTube though, where do you see YouTube going, man? Where do you see it going from here? Like, what do you think YouTube end game is for many of us?
To not end up like MySpace and currently Facebook and uh, Black Planet. I think. Do I want to say YouTube is too big to fail? Right now, I would argue against it. But all things eventually come to an end. But I think this is being the number one platform. What is it? 2 billion people a day visit YouTube. This thing. My only thing I'm worried about YouTube is their the algorithm and how they're starting to filter out certain content creators that speak on certain content. Now that bothers me because basically what you're going to start seeing probably more and more censorship, for more hard hitting topics. And then with what I forget who passed some type of legislation or something, you had to be like a actual journalist with credentials to speak on certain topics on your platform. I know they had something like that in writing. um I'm more concerned about the censorship thing for some of us that don't talk about cats and dogs and phones and gossip you know
Yeah, I think I see that too, man. I see more, because I've been affected by it. I mean, man, they took my super chat for 30 days over some stupid shit. I'm like, what the hell, man? Not that I'm too concerned about it money wise, but I know that my people, they like to super chat a couple dollars and get their shit read and all that.
Mhm.
So it kind of jammed them up. It didn't really jam me up. I work for mine. So, a few little pennies that I collect from super chat and shit like that ain't that big of a deal. But I've noticed that, they're starting to censor shit more. I've heard people because I talk to brothers behind the scenes, on YouTube, and they have, hit this one and hit that one and took this one's channel down, took that one's channel down. So it's getting way, way more censored. But why do you think that is? Do you think the censorship of media is coming from the people up top of media, or is the censorship coming in so much because you got people who are like in media complaining about certain shit and they're just tired of hearing their complaints, so they coming down on brothers?
I want to say it's 70-30, 70 from the top, 30 from those that's inside complaining. Look at Twitter. Twitter is probably the okay. Print is dead. No one reads newspapers. Even these cable shows, people don't take serious. Twitter is like the number one go to for all what's going on around the world, 24/7, in real time. Nothing you can't beat that if you're a media conglomerate. The only thing you can do is either buy them out and absorb it, or come up with a competing platform and hope the people bite. But then if they find out it's you that's owning it, then they're gonna they're not gonna really mess with it that much. Um, Same thing here with YouTube. You see a lot of people with non-degreed credentials. Uh, they want to call us yellow journalists now, and disregard or shame us for reporting on the real news for to a certain extent. And now you're seeing everyday regular Joe Blow people speaking on the important issues or the different aspects, different angles of news that the media conglomerates don't want you to know or won't speak on. And the power is in the people. It's always been, and it will always be that way. They can't afford to have us telling the narrative instead of them telling the narrative. So yeah, there's this tug of war over information and who's going to tell it the story and get it out there. And um, that's what you're seeing. I think you're seeing it. The powers that be are losing their grip to a certain extent, and the people are starting to get a little bit more emboldened, a little bit more confident, and not as fearful about speaking out on certain issues. And YouTube and Twitter and these platforms provide that. So yeah.
So do you think that far as black people are concerned, do you think that the media has helped us or hurt us?
Damn. Shoot. I would say I I don't think they can hurt us any more than what they've already done in the media. I mean, hell, man, black man is either a sexual predator, deadbeat dad, or he's in jail. I mean, it can't get any worse than what it is now. I think. I think you can't come up with another false narrative about us. Our homes are broken, our children are wayward. Okay, we get it. That's I think this we've pretty much hit rock bottom as a people in the media. Now a certain segment of us are starting to say, hey, no, that we're not all what you claim us to be. Hey, here's a black family. We're productive. We own businesses, or we're highly affluent, things of that nature. Slowly but surely you get little um, sectors here and there popping up of positivity with black folk. Will it undo the whole world star narrative? No. No. I mean, did we just not see the footage of the other girls fighting in Miami Beach? Bunch of black women fighting in Miami Beach. What, some guy beat up his woman on Facebook Live, and it's another shooting. I mean, I'm sorry to say, but I think this narrative of black dysfunction is here to stay and will not go anywhere no time soon.
Do you believe that we help perpetuate it a lot?
By all means, yes. It's to the point where they're on cruise control and we've taken the reins. No one's making black folk upload dysfunction onto World Star. No one who does that. That's no one. That's not white supremacy. No one put a gun to these people's heads. No one makes you go on Facebook Live and start shooting at people, or just doing this nonsense. That's us. That's not slavery. That's not Jim Crow doing that. That's just us making a conscious decision to display our dysfunction for the world to see, the entire world. And you cannot delete that. You can't scrub that. That's not going anywhere.
You mean to tell me that white supremacy isn't making us get on freaking World Star and shoot at folks?
Hell no. Hell no. And you know what's even worse? When you get these YouTube pundits that swear white supremacy is the cause for every goddamn thing. Like, nigga, please stop.
Yeah.
That's another narrative, another part of YouTube's the sector I don't care for. The whole race baiters.
Do we play that card too much? Do we play the white supremacy freaking violin too damn much?
That card has been overplayed for the last 7-8 years now. Like, everything is a condition of slavery. Everything's a condition of this and condition of that. No, it's just pure black dysfunction, and people, we tend to revel in that. That's how much you gonna put on a white man. Like, Sharik needs a job. I got his application right here. No, he's not gonna get the job today. Like, the white man is not sitting around here thinking about you not hiring you for the job. Like, he took out a business loan. Let's cancel it because we can't take a chance of him rising up and becoming powerful. It ain't happening like that. When I walk out my door, I don't worry about cops. I don't worry about Billy Bob and his gun rack and his pickup truck. I worry about niggas. It is what it is. I worry about these young, hyper masculine, effeminate boys with no daddies and they loud ass mamas that one day they may cross my path and I'm going to have to deal with them. That's what I worry about. I don't worry about the mother shits. The sometimey boogeyman. I don't worry about that.
Yeah, I've often said that we give this white supremacy boogeyman way too much credit. Yeah. Does it have some effect on black people? Yes, of course it does. But every goddamn thing in my life isn't dictated by white supremacy or the white power structure. That shit I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired of people blaming every goddamn thing on the white man. Everything that goes on in your life is the white man's fault. Come on, man, enough of that shit. That's just too much. Um, so what do you think? Um, because we know, despite of what a lot of people say, we know that white supremacy doesn't control everything. It just doesn't in black folks' lives. But what do you think it does affect? What do you think it does control?
I mean, there's certain infrastructures it controls. Definitely education, financial sectors. Um, but it's not 100%. Like they don't 100% con- uh, control or own you to a certain. There's always ways around. You can always circumvent if you do the research, do the knowledge. If you really want to get around these hoops and hurdles and obstacles, you gotta want to put in the work. If you know public schools are bad, okay, so then do what you gotta do to put your kid in a better position to go to a charter school or or a private school. Like, did we forget how to have kids? Like when you have kids, okay, these are all the obstacles your kids are looking at down the road. Are you not preparing for them to face that? Do you not have things in place for them to be able to navigate around, through, and above, or that way you can minimize the impacts that the white supremacy could potentially have on them down the road. If you're not preparing your kids, or you don't have systems in place, then you're doing your kids a disservice. You know, I mean, because they got traps in place. Don't get me wrong; they got setups, for your kids. But I mean, come on, you name your kid Lee Darnay, like that's a red flag. Like, really, you named your kid Lee La Bushka Bushka. Like, come on, man, stop. So
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You asking for that job application to get torn up.
yeah,
When HR look at it, they're like, "Yep."
even worse, they're gonna hit
another
delete. They're gonna
another
hit
one.
they're gonna hit delete when it comes to the email, to the company email server.
Yeah,
Oh, who's this?
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. Shahamna, delete.
Yeah,
Yeah,
delete. But see, people will argue that, that in itself, that's bigotry, that's racism, that's discrimination. But aren't you kind of setting yourself? Well, let me ask you this. Do you think we as black people have a tendency to just do what the hell we want to do and ask the rest of the world to just accept it and comply, and if they don't, it's bigotry?
now that's a very uh, deep question. Now, who exhibits that behavior? Because I could sit here and say that's what our women do, right? But yeah, we like being the victim. We love victimhood. Victimhood has been incentivized to a certain extent. Victimhood gets you attention and validation, and we revel in it for whatever reason doesn't make sense to me. But we love playing the victim. We love it. We also love being the first black this, the first black that. Like, y'all don't get tired of being the first black doing something. Like, really? Okay, all right.
Yep. Much as I hear about, how bad, white folks are, all the time, it seems like many of us, we aren't satisfied until we're validated by the same people that we claim we hate so damn much. I mean, that kind of stuff doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, we claim that, the white man's the devil. They wake up every day. They want to kill us. They want us dead and all this kind of nonsense. They want to take our lives and take our organs and all this kind of stuff you hear all the time. Then this very same person who just got telling you they just got done telling you how bad white folks are, they want to be the first black person somewhere with white folks.
Yeah.
They want to kiss the ass of white folks. And I truly believe, and I'll ask you this, do you think many of us love white people? Do we just love white people?
Yes.
We love white folks.
How could I don't see how you could see it any other way. Like, we are descendants of black folk that are so upset at the fact they couldn't sit at their counter, couldn't eat their food, couldn't drink from their water fountain, couldn't use their bathrooms. Like the nerve of these white people wanting their own shit. The nerve of them. I think we need to go over there and integrate ourselves into their society. That's how I see it. You know.
Because you have to love someone to just want to be around them, want to be around their system, want them to validate and love you. That means you have to love them. If you want them to love you so much, that means you already love them. And I think a lot of us don't understand how much we idolize white folks, okay? Even through all the talk of, the cave beast and the white man's the devil and the white man's this, the white man's that. A lot of us don't even realize how much you have put white people on a pedestal to the point where they are idolized by you. And I think it's something we need to think about, okay? Because a lot of us rail on and on about white people. And the only way you will rail on so much about white folks is if you thought a certain way about them. Because white people aren't the only people in this world. They're not the only people in this country. Okay, they're not. There's other people here. There's Latino people here. There's Asian people here. So, for us to always be dwelling on the white stuff, I mean, kind of, makes think that, black folks, we got this, secret subconscious affinity for white people. That's why we always talking about them and comparing ourselves to them. But I only got you for a few more minutes, so let me ask you a few more questions. What do you believe causes the most what do you think causes the most problems between black folks? Is it disagreements with one another? Is it white folks? Is it women? I mean, where's the big? Because I asked brother Dollar Wil this earlier too. Where do you think the biggest problems are inside black society? Where are the biggest problems? Where's one problem where if we take care of that, we done knocked out a big portion of whatever issues we got going on?
I think it comes from a self hate, low self esteem. I always start with self. I always start with it within. There's problems with us. We're suffering from generational curses. We never, just I I know there's a lot of outside external forces, but there is something wrong with us as a whole, as a people. I don't know. You can call it. I don't know if you want to call it low IQ, retardation, mental illness, whatever you want to call it. There's something fundamentally wrong with us as a group, as a people. It doesn't take much to push us off the edge. Like it doesn't take much to talk us off, to jump off a building. Like we're just that on the edge. It doesn't take much. Um, I think everything starts with self, and there's a lot of mentally ill black people out here, undiagnosed, diagnosed. The kids are messed up. Your grandmother was messed up. Your daddy was whatever. I just man, you would need a Thanos snap. You would need a Thanos snap at least half of us off the. I generally feel that way, bro. You would have to Thanos snap at least half of us to even begin to start to have a semblance of rebuilding this broken community. Of ours. We're done. I hate to sound like a pessimist, but I've been saying this for the last 5 years. You want to ask me? We're done as a people, man. We're done.
So
We're
you believe
done.
that because you hear brothers say a lot, that black society is just dead. It just needs to be burnt to the ground and rebuilt. Do you subscribe to that?
I'm scorched earth, man. listen, if I could set this, if I could light the match, let me do it. Cause this it is not it. This is not what I want my children to grow up and having to deal. Can you imagine? I gotta, you know, my daughter. I'm like, yo, you can't. I have rules. You can't date somebody who doesn't have a father in his life, right? You can't. I mean, all these crazy rules that I had to have for her to make sure she picks a somewhat half decent mate, right? And I'm hoping it's a brother. That means I gotta keep her around proximity of black folk, but then I run the risk of running into some mentally ill black folk just to keep her options to a point where I think I want her to bring home somebody that looks like her and not some little Jew or not some little Asian boy. You know what I'm saying? So, um, man, a civil war purge has to start in our communities. It has to. You don't have a chance to even begin to touch white supremacy until you start cleaning out your own house. There's no way. And then when you get to before you touch white supremacy, you got to deal with the Asian, you got to deal with the Mexicans, you know, you got to deal with the Indians before you can even get to the big boss. It's we're not we ain't got it to do that. We don't.
I agree. I haven't lost total hope in black society though, but then again, I don't have small children. I have grandchildren. I don't have small children. Um, I would hope that my offspring, raise their children in a similar fashion that I raised them. But that's going to be more on them than me. I'm just the old man now. No one's going to listen to me anyway. But I think that there may be hope for the children. I think some of us adults, we just as good as gone. I mean, we can take a long walk off of a short cliff and nobody will miss our ass. So I mean, that's that's where I'm at with that. Just take that walk, that long walk off of a short cliff. But let me ask you this, and this will be my last question. Do you think that what we do on media is helping? Is it helping that scorched earth situation? Is it kind of reversing it or is it expediting it?
No, it's just highlighting. All it is to me is just highlighting our dysfunction. It only highlights the argument for me for to have a scorched earth, or it highlights the reason why we need to have a purge within our communities. That to me, that's all it does. It's just like here's a flashlight. See how fucked up we are. Look over there. Look at that. Look at it. Look at them. Look at them. That's all it does for me is just highlight the dysfunction. Um, yeah, I mean, unless you're gonna physically, pull a Hitler and physically start exterminating people, this is just this no. You would that's what it would take. I know it sounds crass, and I know it sounds vulgar, but you would need to physically exterminate half of us off this planet to have a fighting chance.
Thanos,
I,
the
bro,
Thanos snap.
I can't say it any other way. Listen, all the
well,
therapy.
well, let me
eh,
ask you. Well, let me ask you one more question before I
okay,
let you go.
okay.
Being that you said that, brother Super Sly, who should stay and who should go? Who should be snapped off of here and who should stay?
You asking me?
Yes, yes,
Okay, what? Who do I have a set of choices? Because I mean, that's a pretty broad. Like I would have to take
yeah.
it case
Because
by case.
if you say half of us need to be snapped off of here, I know you got some people in mind that need to be gone.
I got a few people that I don't care for that I would want snapped off of here, but I mean that's me personally. You would have. I mean, then again, what parameters are you going to use to base that off of? Because someone could unfairly get snapped off, you know, um, or you just roll the dice and be like, whoever does ain't here, ain't here. I don't know. I don't know how you would base that. To be honest with you, but for the for the most part, you know, do you snap off, a Pookie and a Ray Ray and a Sharkeisha just on GP? They could be victim of circumstances, and I can understand that, but You know, do you take that chance and let them live and breed, right? Or do you just start with the best of the best and say, okay, you guys are safe. The rest of you motherfuckers are going to do by case and see how it pans out.
Mm. See, me, I've always been a mind of Nigger Island. You send them to Nigger Island, and Nigger Island is far. It's way far away from everything. Okay, and if you have showed some nigger stuff, we round you up. We come up in there. We round you up. We put you on a train, and we drive you to the boat, and the boat takes your ass to, well, not even a boat. It's a plane, because, see, we don't want you getting no ideas. We fly your ass in there, and we slow the plane down, and we get it like 4 feet above the ground, because there's no damn, there's no landing strip. Yeah, so we just slow that motherfucker down and open the door and boot your black asses out of there, and we're out. And once you go, you can't come back. Once you've been sentenced to Nigger Island, it's for life. There is no return. There's no redeeming yourself. You're gone.
And that's the thing. You have to be damn sure careful that this is, you know, they deserve to be where they're at, you know, because, you know, if you go to a neighborhood, you know, half of the hood is you know, do you what 40% worth saving, and the other 60% got to go. Okay, but like I say, it goes back to how do you base the criteria, who fits the criteria, because you're going to get some people that fall through the cracks, you know, unfairly, or you know, so that would be the biggest problem. And then you would have to see, okay, who sits on the council to make these decisions, and what makes them, you know, worthy to make these decisions as well. To it would be a nightmare of a logistics problem, but it would have to be done seriously, because there's a bunch of us that don't need to be out here breeding seriously.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that some people don't have no damn business having no damn kids. I mean, you know, I mean, do what you want. I mean, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want. I mean, when you bring kids into a messed up situation, that's when I have a problem with you. You know, I mean, and you hear people say, oh, man, you shouldn't be telling people about, you know, having kids and this and that. Bullshit, man. I mean, like I said, you're an adult. You can go ahead and do whatever you want to do with your life. No one cares. But once you start bringing children, you know, I don't think anything's worse than bringing children into a bad situation. Because, see, you could have avoided that shit. Okay, you could have looked up and said, hey, look, I'm broke. You know, I'm eating roaches. So maybe I don't need to bring another person in here, so we can be 2 broke people and be splitting the roaches down the middle. So, I mean, that shit bothers me when people bring children into bad situations. Okay, that bothers me. And anybody who don't understand that just doesn't understand anything. You know, I mean, people talk about how children are a blessing and all this kind of nonsense, and maybe they are, but they're more of a blessing if you're bringing them into an environment where they can thrive, where you're bringing them into an environment where you can guide them, counsel them, instruct them, rear them, raise them. Yes, then it's a blessing. It's not a blessing when you got 5 of them and don't know where none of their daddies is. Okay, it's not a blessing when you got 10 baby mamas and 6 of those babies you don't even see. I mean, those are not blessings. Okay, that's not a blessing. I don't care what anyone says. It's not. Okay, because you have brought kids into a situation where they cannot thrive. They can't thrive if they living with their 8 freaking siblings and their mama and they eating roaches and shit. They're not thriving. They're just not. They're not thriving if they're one of their father's 15 children, especially if they fall on the starving end. Because, you know, when a dude got 15, 20 kids, you know at least 12 of them starving.
Yeah, somebody gonna be asked out. Somebody gonna be asked out.
At least 10 or 12 are starving. So if you one of the kids on the starving end of the shit, you're not thriving. So, you know, like I said, some people, they don't need to be breeding and all this so kind of bullshit. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. I'm coming down there too, man. The next time you do a movie review, y'all need to check me out, man. I was on Super Sly Shit a couple weeks ago. We was doing Well, he was doing a movie review, and I just have to bring my black ass on there
No,
and
I
start
like that.
talking.
I know. I'm glad because yeah, no, I don't. I hate this. I'm one of those guys. I hate to hear myself talk. I don't like hearing myself talk for more than an hour because then I'm like, you know what? See, my ego. I don't. My ego is really small. So, um, no, I definitely, man. Next, shit, April's got some good movies coming out. So definitely, I'll be looking for you
Yeah, I come
to look
down
into.
there, you know,
Yeah,
because I watch your shit. You know, I'm a subscriber. You know, I am a subscriber. Obviously, I'm a subscriber. That's why I came on your shit. You know, if I come on your shit, that means I don't watch your shit. That's why I don't come on your shit. But yeah, man, this was good, man. Chopping it up with you, man, and you know, I'll probably see you on the other side. I haven't been on ODJ's panels lately because Sunday I'll be doing some other shit. But I think I'm gonna start getting back over because he wrote me the other day. He was like, you know, we need to hook back up and shit. So I'm gonna get over there with ODJ. You know, try to
yeah,
get with him
definitely,
as soon as
definitely.
possible.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and yeah, do something, man. Make something happen, man. But once again, man, I appreciate it. And you folks out there, if you want to go down there, you want to subscribe to Super Sly's channel, look down there in the description box. Click that link. That'll take you to his channel. Go ahead, subscribe. I'm pretty sure the brother would appreciate the support. And you might just learn something with your black asses. So once again, brother Super Sly, man, this was good shit, man. And don't let this be the last time, man. You got to come through. You need to come through on a Thursday night, man. That's when Thursday nights are crazy.
Or
That's well, we do some serious shit, but Thursday nights are kind of like a berserker's barrage and shit.
okay.
You know, so
I'll be in New York. My flight leaves at. I'll be there at 5 in the morning. So yeah, well later on tomorrow. I'll check in with you and
yeah, well, tomorrow I'm actually talking about I'm talking about married guys tomorrow. So I'm gonna be on there, brother Art, brother Supreme, Gab Talk, you know, a few brothers, you know, we're gonna be talking about, you know, marriage and being a married brother and all that kind of shit.
it's
So,
hard damn
you
work.
know, it's gonna be one of those things tomorrow.
That's hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna give it a shot
Okay.
tomorrow, you know. We'll give it a shot tomorrow. We are going to give it a shot. But yeah, man, once again, man, I appreciate this, man. This was good shit, man. You gotta come back through, brother.
Always. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Lowcast, Doctor. I see y'all.
Absolutely. You got to come back through. And once again, y'all, if y'all want to go ahead and subscribe to Brother Super Sly or Brother Dollar Will, look down in the description box. It's there. I know it because I put it there. We usually do 3 guests on the old Hours of Power, but we only had 2 guests tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead, and while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and talk to y'all about this new series because y'all do know that this is the Prophet of Thought series, right? We got this new series that's only on Patreon, right? And it's called the Panty Dropper series. Now, the ladies who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. We got this new thing called the Panty Dropper series. We already got material waiting. I'm about to put a trailer up so you can see and hear, you know, what's going to be on the Patreon channel. Now, the only thing I'm going to put on YouTube, y'all, is the trailers. Okay? The trailers of the series. The real shit is going to be on Patreon. All right? Now, I've been thinking about dropping the price because the first tier is $15, second tier is $25, the third tier is $50. So I'm gonna drop the price just for y'all. I'm gonna drop the first tier to like $5, but I'm not dropping the next ones because see, it goes from hotter to volcano. You understand? So this is what is coming from T.P.O.T. All right. And it's only on Patreon. But in the next couple of days, I'm going to drop a trailer so y'all could kind of get an idea of what's going on. All right. Because I got a bunch of material. And the reason why the Panty Dropper series has come is because I've been asked about this over the course of many, many years, y'all. They were like, oh, you need to get on here. You got the voice. You should get on there. You should do this. You should do that. And I have rejected that premise for many, many years, y'all. They have been asking me this shit ever since I worked in radio. All right. And I was like, no, 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 no. But now I have said yes. If you look on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page, you can actually see one of the promos. I will put the link in the chat for y'all just in case you're too lazy to find it on your own, right? So I will put it in the chat, right? Y'all go ahead and check that video out. And yeah, it's gonna be some good shit, man. It's gonna be some things that's gonna because let me tell y'all something. Let me have a talk with y'all, because it's just us here, right? Now, I know on the internet, right? We go hard on you ladies. We do. We go hard on the ladies, we talk a lot of shit, and I know some of y'all just think we're just the worst of the worst. But see, me, I don't hate y'all. I'm not a lady hater. Okay. I got my problems with sisters, but I'm not a lady hater. All right. So I don't mind telling women things that they want to hear, but not what you think. That's what I was telling brothers last week when I was talking about it. I'm going to be telling y'all women what y'all want to hear, but not what you think. You ain't going to hear me calling you queen and princess and empress and telling you how great you are and all that kind of bullshit. No, that you're not going to hear. You're going to hear some other shit you want to hear. You're going to hear some other shit that you want to hear. Because I know y'all women be home sometime by yourself and nobody's around and you just don't know what to do with yourself. So old X will come along and talk to you, tell you things that might just brighten up your day. Who knows? Tell you some things that might make you get in that bathroom and get busy with that water pick. That's what's going to be going on. That is just a small sample of what's going to be going on the Panty Dropper series. So you better look like signing up to X's Patreon. And I got some good stuff coming because I got a few people who willing to sign on for some voiceovers. And I've got a very, very dirty mind. So the things that you hear there are going to be well worth the money that you're paying, ladies. I mean, you're just blowing your money on bullshit anyway. So you might as well go ahead and sign up to my Patreon. It can be like a digital retreat, a digital vacation, if you will. So get on down there, check it out. All right? Because it's on, but only on Patreon. But keep your eyes open for the trailer. Okay? Okay? Keep your eyes open for the trailer. All right? While I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and put my my Patreon just in case y'all feel like y'all want to get on down there and check it out. There's that. There's the old Patreon link. So y'all get on down there, check it out, check out the promo. And like I said, be looking for the trailer. When you hear this trailer, you already know what it is. I know it sounds a little oblique and vague right now, right? You're like, what the hell is X talking about? When you see this trailer, all questions will be answered. All right? So, get on. Nah, I can't do that tonight, Doc. But yeah, sign up for my Patreon and you will hear what you like. That's all I got to say. I'm not gonna say any more about it. Go ahead, check it out, and that's that. Once again, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody coming through. I appreciate my moderators. I appreciate the people in the chat. I appreciate all of y'all for sticking around, watching us tonight. Get your butts down there to the old Facebook page. It's Proper the Thought series on Facebook. Proper the Thought, one word, series the next word on Facebook. That's our main page. It's a community page. You can go ahead. You can leave me a message there. I'll definitely get back to you within 24 and 168 hours. Go ahead, check it out. There's always something good going on there. And like I said, you can catch up with me there too and stay on top of what's going on the T.P.O.T YouTube page as well. And while you're on Facebook, you might as well go ahead and sign up with the Proper Thought Series fan group page. That's right, the Proper Thought Series fan group page. Go ahead, request to be a member. You're guaranteed to get accepted quick. If not, because I know people been having problems getting accepted. Y'all been writing me, oh, I can't get in there. Just hit me off with a line, drop it in my email, and I'll talk to my admins. Because believe it or not, y'all, I talk about this all the time. I don't even admin my fan page. I got other people doing that. And guess what? Sometimes my shit gets blocked. My shit gets blocked on my own fan page. I gotta tell them, yo, why you got my shit on the review? What the hell? So if y'all can't get in there, just drop me a line, all right, and I'll make sure y'all get in there or whatever. Just hit me up or whatever. Also, check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right, Proper the Thought on Instagram. Proper the Thought. Leave out the series. You follow us on Instagram, you're guaranteed to get a follow back. And also, I know y'all ain't heard me say this in a while. Get your black behinds down there on Twitter. The Twitter handle is at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. You better follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, I will haunt your black ass in your dreams for the rest of the year. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming through tonight. And also, I want to thank my most distinguished guest, Brother Dollar Wil, and my man, SUPASLY75, for coming through. If y'all want to check them out, links in the description box. So, with that, I will leave you with 3 words, like I always do. Open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all.
Let us open our minds.
I know leadership don't need love don't mean retaliation. If we don't stop, if we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the death of a child, of a slave. I never say, remember your forefathers' tears, the lives which was lost for us to see peaceful years when shots stop, moving remains flat. If we parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If we parade, they celebrate. At the death of the child of a slave. Proper thought, proper thought. Open our mind. If we don't stop, Open our mind. The child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind.
Hold it. Something for the ladies. Only from T.P.O.T. Open your mind.